Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're with us this Friday morning. Got a big show lined up, a special guest here. But first, let's take a look at our weather. Brought to us by Gulf Coast Air Conditioning, Drew Pollard and hard-working crew, taking care of our everyday comfort needs. High today, 88, low 72 tonight. And an all-important water temperature at the end of the pier, brought to us by Allco Electric out of Lynn Haven. It has gone up another degree. How about 83 degrees? That's as warm as it has been all year. 83 degrees at the end of the pier. Our river readings brought to us by Panama City, Coca-Cola. The Apalachicola Bluntstown this morning reading an 8.6. It's been going down. It's going to be in good shape this weekend. The Choctawhatchee at Caryville this morning reading a 3.4. It's been going down and getting a little bit on the low side, but it's been a steady drop on both rivers, and they've leveled off. It'll be a good weekend on both rivers. Our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn. We've got some decent tide today compared to yesterday. Tomorrow will be better, but man, next week tides are strong. But anyway, this morning is high at 8:15 and low at 4:05 this afternoon. Let's go into our fishing game times in this segment here, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in St. Joe. We're looking at 8:23 to 10:23 this morning, and 8:49 to 10:49 tonight. And a wind direction is coming from, well, guess where? It's coming from which direction? South-southwest at 10 to 15. Been that way 15 straight days. Let's take a break. We'll be back with our special guest. Okay, welcome back. I always talk about special guests, but here's one this morning. This guy's an inspiration to me. J.B. Hillard, Bent Rod Fishing Club, Defuniak Springs. Welcome down.
I'm glad to be here again, Winston.
Been here before, and he's no stranger to us. I show a lot of pictures up there off the Choctawhatchee River, and I got tickled a while ago. I said, we're getting ready for the show. I asked J.B., where'd you grow up?
Defuniak Springs.
Defuniak Springs.
Yeah.
And what do you live in the same house you grew up in?
No, well, I left for a long time, make a living. I came back 30 years ago.
Came back 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're going to go ahead and clarify this. How old are you right now?
88.
88 years old. Got up this morning and drove down to Defuniak Springs at 88. But started the Bent Rod Fishing Club about 10 or 12.
About 10, 11 years.
So he's like 76, 77 years old. So, hey, let's start a fishing club. Is that not inspirational? And it's awesome. I keep up with them. And the Bent Rod, how'd you come up with that name?
It was a process of elimination. We got our people together and came up with different names, and they selected this one.
Okay.
And and it stuck. And our logo was designed by my former secretary back during my working days, and she sent it to me, and in fact I sent her a video just recently of our fish fry we had, and she was happy to see that.
That's cool. That's cool. How many members y'all have?
We don't have a lot, about 12, 15. They come and go. Mm-hmm. And we have visitors and have speakers and programs and things, and it's just a small club, but we're active.
I know y'all are active.
We're active.
I love keeping up with y'all, and I'm so glad you're able to email us stuff. We all found pictures and all. Before we get to that, I'm going to present JB, and okay, y'all know the shirt that we designed for 5,000 shows right here. So we wore. Bill Allen was with us last time. That was right. Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Well, likewise, I brought you and Bill a cap.
Okay.
And y'all up there visiting with us last week, so make sure Bill gets his
I'll
share.
I'll try to get it to him.
Yeah.
Okay, and, there it is right there.
That's one of the first things he asked. He said, "I want one of those caps."
That's cool. The fish fry was really good.
We had a good time. We appreciate y'all coming up, and really appreciate it. And it's always good to see Bill, and we enjoy watching him when you're not here.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Well, we, the thing about fishing, we talked about it before, it's just fun.
It is. I was sort of chuckled coming down here this morning. thought about when we were sitting there at eating brim last week, and I asked you what we're going to talk about, and you said fishing. I thought to myself, what a dumb question that was.
Fishing, that covers a lot of stuff right there. How many days a week do you try to go?
Not like I used to. I was fishing 3 or 4 days a week, and if I get out 1 day a week, I'm happy now.
Okay. Well, you were hitting 3 or 4
we
days.
were out yesterday. Had a good day yesterday on the river. Yeah.
What'd you do yesterday?
We went catfishing with Gil Price.
Yeah.
No, he's the Mossy Head bait company.
How's that
guy.
doing now?
He's recovering from a medical condition, but he's back on the river, and
he still got his little things he had.
yeah, and he'll come down and be with you again sometime.
I need him to. Last time we were in the studio across the building there when he was
got
here.
some new inventions, and be interesting to talk to him. Yeah,
Gil Price, tell him to come down here.
I will. I'll pass the word to him. I sure will.
Love to see him and all. He's a good little gadget. You think about it. You catch mullet, brim, catfish, or just whatever.
We do, and some of our guys and gals they fish saltwater too.
Yeah.
I'm primarily a river guy, and but it's varied. We don't have tournaments and competitions and everything. We're just a social club and enjoy fishing, and we're there at the senior center, and by the way, we've had a major change at the senior center recently. Now it's under the direct administration of the City of Defuniak.
Okay.
And for about 16, 17 years, we had a third-party contractor that actually ran the place for the county and the city, but they stepped aside, and the city took it over, and so we're going through a transition period of bureaucracy and red tape, you know.
We know about that. We know about that. Just tell them as long as they keep that fish fry open every year, and they all meet once a month and all, whatever.
Yes, we do.
That's cool. On your brim fishing, what do you like? We're always talking about the river readings. What do you like?
I prefer brim fishing myself, and but I like catfishing too. You know? Yeah, I'm not. We don't. I don't fish for big catfish. We fish for eating size.
Eating size, right?
And that's what we use shrimp for bait. So you're not going to catch 20, 30 pounders with a piece of shrimp. You know?
That's right. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. Come back with JB. Welcome back. I'm so glad this morning to have JB Hillard, President for life, I guess. Well, you actually let somebody else take over now, right?
Yeah.
The day-to-day operation. Yeah. The day-to-day operation, but he's still the man, the legend there in Defuniak Springs, the Bent Rod Fishing Club. They brought us some pictures and all. So let's get started on these pictures right here. So tell us about this. Is a fine mess of fish.
That is a fine mess. That was caught with one of our members, and just recently. Down at a place called Williams Lake out of Black Creek Lodge, and it's part of the river estuary system, but we have, we have bass and sucker trout in the same place, as you well know, in the estuary system, and brim too. And that was a nice mess of fish.
That sure is. That sure is.
Yeah.
Okay. We were talking about sturgeon the other day.
Yeah, we were talking about sturgeon when you was up there last week, and my friend Kevin out at Argyle, Kevin Griggs was fishing north of Highway 20 down in which that's an area that's famous for sturgeon. And
yes.
That little sturgeon jumped in his boat.
He jumped in the boat?
Jumped in his boat, and it looked like it looked maybe a couple of feet long there.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
And but I tell you, when you get those 40-pounders jumping down there, it's sort of scary if they're close to the boat, you know.
Well, that's true. And that area there around that bridge around Ebro and all,
and they do.
There's a lot of them in there.
That show you had here recently about the sturgeon was very interesting.
Yeah,
it really was. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd contact me on that. All right. What about this one right here?
That's some crappie in a lake off the main river with my friend Ron Meters. Yeah, he lives down in Central Florida, and we were in there, and he comes up once or twice a year and fishes with me.
Yeah.
And we're doing what's called long lining, and where you're actually trolling, with jigs behind the boat.
Okay.
And that was, we didn't have that many, but 15 or 20 that day, but that was some of the nice ones there.
Yeah, 15, 20 ain't bad.
Yeah.
This series. All right, one more here.
That's another mess fish that caught just recently, really. And that's some of my handiwork. Yeah, I put that one in there because of the color. Those red-bellied brim, they're really pretty. Yeah, they really are. Yeah.
So you've been fishing that area since you were a kid.
Yeah, my granddaddy taught me. He was my.
That's how you started fishing.
That's how I started fishing. My granddaddy. Yeah.
So your family goes way back in Walton County.
Yeah, and my granddaddy was in Holmes County over in Bonneville.
Okay.
And but of course we were so close together. We were back and forth out in those days.
Yeah.
And he taught me how to fish. And my father-in-law actually taught me how to fish on the river.
Yeah.
And he's passed on now, but when I came back home, he had to re-educate me to how to fish the river. But that was 30 years ago, and
that's cool.
And it paid off,
Yeah, I know you have a love for it. What's your, when you're brim fishing, what kind of bait do you like to use?
Well, right now, recently, I've started using worms more than crickets.
Okay.
And I got into the shellcracker thing, and the shellcracker seemed to like worms better than crickets. They're fishing on the bottom, and but brim seemed to like the crickets better than worms. But you know how it is; they both bite anything. And but I like to fish shellcracker on the bottom, and back during March and early April, they were really biting.
Yeah.
I mean, they were really turned on it. And they're still people doing very well on brim right now, and mullet, man, the mullet.
We're gonna get the mullet in a minute.
Mullet is tearing them up.
That's amazing. You catch all those mullet. But get back when you're brim fishing. How long do you stay like in one area? Do you keep moving pretty rapidly?
I do what's called slash fish mostly.
Okay.
I move along real slow, and when I find one or two good ones, I'll stop and see if there's more there waiting on me, and just sort of plod along. Some of the guys I fish with, they prefer to go from spot to spot and anchor. Right. But I like to move along and look for them.
We trolling motor?
I use my trolling motor. And I used to know how to scull, but I sort of lost that technique years ago.
Oh my goodness, that is a lost technique. Trolling motors. Nobody does that anymore. But back then, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
What about what kind of rig? A corking on a hook, or you?
Yeah. I just use bobber. And
how deep do you try to go?
Only about 3 or 4 feet when I'm using a bobber, but of course the shellcracker I'm on the bottom with top line. And my friend Gil was talking about a while ago, he had invented a weedless hook, and I've been using those, and those things are deadly.
Really?
On the bottom, you use like a BB shot almost, very light. Put a worm on that thing and throw it out there among the wood, and it's come right through the wood. Don't get hung up,
That's a big deal.
Amazing thing, yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
What about when you're moving along? Do you see a spot ahead, or you just stay on that one spot there? Do you keep planning ahead?
I keep planning ahead. I've got a side scan on my boat, and I use that, and it's that's part of my entertainment. A lot of guys don't use electronics, but a lot of people do, and I just like that side scan.
How do you get to see a lot of stuff in it?
Yeah, you see a lot.
It's crazy.
And especially if you run into crappie, when they're ganged up, schooled up, they really stand out.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Your granddaddy probably wouldn't believe that.
He didn't have that, no.
We'll talk about that.
No, we didn't. You wonder about all this fancy equipment today that people have, and how did we catch fish 40 years ago? We didn't have that,
It's amazing. And they caught just as many, if not more, without any of that stuff. All they had was a cane pole and a worm.
Yeah.
But they had a lot more time, it seemed like, than we had.
That's true.
When we get back to the mullet now.
Yeah.
The other day, you got on a mullet hole. You caught how many? You got a bunch of them.
We got about a half a dozen what I call public spots in the Choctawhatchee estuary area, and other people go out and bait their own holes. But I tell you, the mullet fishing is this time of year is really good.
Yeah.
And people are getting their 50 limits, and 100 if you got 2 in the boat.
Yeah.
And those limits are being caught, and it's just phenomenal. The net ban we had, 25 years ago or so, it just it made such a big difference in our fishery. And it's I tell you, you get a 2-pound mullet on a fly rod, you got some fun.
You fishing with a fly rod, some of them?
I use a crappie rod, but some guys use fly rods. Crappie rod about the same.
They get them come to the top? Or
no, I fish on the bottom.
What about the fly rod people?
No, they fish on the bottom. They just use it. Put a spinning reel on it, and they use it just like a pole.
Okay.
Yeah. I prefer the crappie rod because you got a lot longer handle. You put it sort of under your arm, and you got a little leverage there. You know.
They're strong fish. They're strong.
They're strong. They really are. Yeah.
And y'all were using, like, one time, we're going to get to the next segment. In fact, it was just a gold hook, basically, what you were using.
Yeah, we talked about that. And I brought a snatch rig, and I went off and forgot my gold hook rig this morning.
Well, we can excuse you. That give you an excuse to come back on the show later on to bring it down here. But we got to get ready for our famous Friday fishing forecast, but we're going to do it different with JB here talking about some of the forecast on his end, and also we got to do the drawing. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. We got a lot to do with JB, but first we got to do our famous Friday fishing forecast. But first, let's do our drawing, and I've got to add some names to it. Let me see right here, real quick. From out of Bayou George, we got Ronald Matthews, and we got also B.R. Davis, Bayou George, and Debbie Lemons, Bayou George. So we're going to shake them up. I'm going to let JB draw the names. All right, JB, this is going to be for the fried mullet plate at Gene's Oyster Bar. And the winner from Southport, Monica Page, Southport. My neighbor's up there. Somewhere up there. All right, this is for the $20 gift certificate.
See if I can draw mine.
Okay, JB Hillard. How about from Fountain, Josh Barton, and a big red snapper. You're doing good, JB. And this person is from Lynn Haven, Ronald Matthews. All right, got them right there, those three. That was Southport, Fountain, and Lynn Haven. All right, now, you brought a rig. Let's show one more picture. We want to show this picture here. Tell us about this young man here.
That's a good friend of mine. He's a professional fishing guide in Alaska. Runs a charter boat up there for a 90-foot fishing vessel that has eight guests at a time, and he runs one of their satellite fishing boats. Okay. That's his first bluegill. And,
bluegill.
We were down at 7 Runs, or Dead River people call it, and I call it 7 Runs.
Okay.
And he caught that, and he's never caught one like that before. So
I bet he enjoyed that.
He's caught every kind of fish you can imagine, but he never caught one like that.
Yeah, that's not Alaska fish right there. Okay, let's get back to we got catching mullet. You got a snatch rig here.
This is a snatch rig right here, Winston, and I made it simple. I tied it up last night and tied up my gold hook. Rick went off and left my gold hook. But anyway, this is a very basic, simple rig. People, they fancy them up with different colors of beads and all kinds of stuff on them. And this is the rig that I use.
That's pretty stout.
Some people use a larger hook and
what
just one hook.
What pound test line?
Pardon me?
What pound test line is
That's
it?
20 on that right there.
Okay.
Yeah, you need you can't use a 8 or 10. You need a 20, a 25, 30.
So tell the folks how you throw it. You know you got the mullet out there on the bottom.
Yeah, you throw it out there on the bottom, and the mullet comes along, and they touch your line is what happens. Mm-hmm. And occasionally, one will actually bite the hook, and you catch them in the mouth. Okay. Most of the time, you snag the body. Mm-hmm. And it's very effective. The majority of the people probably use this type of rig or some takeoff on it. Mm-hmm. Some people use just one big old, like a grappling hook. Right. This is the kind of rig that I like to use.
You catch more on the bottom hook or the top hook?
Well, it varies. On the gold hook rig, I'll catch more on the bottom hook than I do. I put a double hook on it.
How many gold hooks do you put on?
I put 2 on.
2 at the bottom. Okay.
And the difference on the gold hook rig, it's a drop shot. Yeah. You put the sinker on the bottom, mm-hmm. and then you put the gold hooks up from the bottom. Right. And I'd say 75–80% of them are caught with a bottom hook. Okay. And some people don't only use one hook. Yeah. But you get 4 or 5 hooks on there, that can be dangerous mullet really flop when in the boat, and those hooks flying around in there. So
That's true. That's true.
I don't use over two.
Now, this is part of our famous Friday fishing forecast brought to us by Jessica Ling Insurance and Financial. So, and I saw Jessica the other day. She said some of our viewers have come into her office, and we do appreciate that. Now, if you're talking about forecast, this weekend, come Saturday, where do you recommend people go fishing this weekend?
There's going to be a lot of people on the river this weekend, so I'm going to stay home.
You stay home on Saturdays?
I'm going to stay home.
I do that too. But if people work Monday through Friday, had to go Saturday, where would you tell them to go over there?
Well, most popular place we have on our river is at Black Creek Lodge, which is a commercial place.
Yeah.
And right there at Highway 20, what I call a cowboard, everybody says Ebro. That's a very popular place.
It is.
And a lot of fish are caught there.
Now, if you're there at Highway 20 at Ebro, would you go upriver or downriver?
I like to go upriver.
Upriver.
And,
okay.
But I fish downriver. You know how it is.
I know.
You get tired going one way, you go the other way. You know.
So, if you had brim fish is your favorite.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my favorite type of fishing, and I guess it's probably because that's what my granddaddy taught me.
Yeah.
And I just grew up that way. I got the fellow that had the sturgeon there. He's a bush hook guy, but his father taught him how to bush hook and limb lines, and he does that religiously, and he's very good at it.
That is so cool. Well, real quick, tell folks how they can start a fishing club. How do you start a fishing club?
Well, we use the seniors that are there in the Funiac as our catalyst.
Okay.
And of course, I was a member, and I just told the director, I said, I'd like to start a fishing club. She said, okay, and that's how it started.
There you go. How complicated is that?
Put the word out and got 2 or 3 people come in. It grew and grew, and of course, over the years, we've had people come and go.
You can meet at restaurants once a month, whatever, for breakfast or
no, we just we don't do that. I would like to do that, but we have.
I'm telling people they have an option of doing that. If they can't do the senior center, they can start a club and meet at a restaurant.
That'd be an excellent way. We did for a while.
I remember when you started.
We had, when McLean's Family Food Restaurant was there, we used to meet there sometimes.
That's when I first met y'all. Y'all right
really,
there.
And but they closed up, and we didn't follow through with it.
Well, we're going to run out of time like we always do, but you got your shirt, we got our caps.
Yeah.
And you'll have to come back down and bring that gold hook.
I'll bring the gold hook next time, yeah.
And it's, keep sending, those pictures you send are really good, so I just want to put a face on the picture. We're talking about J.B. Hillard from the Funiac, Bent Rod. Here he is, live in person, so we appreciate you coming down.
Well, appreciate you having me, and we'll do it again sometime.
I know, we sure will.
Okay.
Folks, thank y'all for watching the show. We appreciate the viewership. Y'all do something good for someone else today. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the outdoors. Take care of it, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.